Welcome to the Properties to Profit podcast. I'm Michael, your host. Excited to share with you my journey from a six-figure job to building a successful real estate business. Each episode will explore various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesaling and flipping to managing rentals. I'll share the lessons and insights I've gained, aiming to help you avoid mistakes and achieve your financial goals. Expect guest experts, valuable tips, and practical advice to guide you on your own real estate journey. Thank you for tuning in. If you find any value in this podcast, please subscribe, share, and follow me on social media. Let's turn properties into profits together.
Michael here with Properties to Profits, and today I have Ian Ross, the host of the Close More Sales podcast. He's also a teacher of all things sales, so he's going to teach us how to have better conversations to increase our wallets. So Ian, why don't you kind of step into why you believe in sales so much?
Sure. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'll say the way I think about sales is that is the perfect representation of personal development. And part of the reason that's so important, before I even get into that, is that I know a lot of your audience is interested in real estate, obviously, based on the name and what you talk about and what you're so good at. But most people get into real estate entirely because of the passive income idea, right? Everyone's attracted to the passive income of getting paid when I sleep, getting paid to go to the beach, getting paid to not be actively working.
Yep.
I think a sales role is the lowest barrier with the highest possible ceiling for entry onto the path of financial freedom. Like if you are able to make a lot of money with what you choose to do actively, that then frees you up to allocate that capital towards things that can pay you passively. So instead of trying to eke out a little bit here and there to put into a passive investment, which is not something to dismiss, and many people get huge benefits from doing that over time.
You can do a lot worse things with that extra money.
Worse things.
Okay.
What excites me about sales is it's in pursuit of high active income that, to me, especially if I like what I do, which I do love what I do, it then becomes a way to take that the energy of money and use it for buying investments. Or I know you're much more bigger on cars. I like trips. I like the trips. I like especially because my wife does, and I like pleasing my wife. So taking my wife on the trip, giving the memories, giving the experience, buying the asset, buying the luxury good, being in pursuit of making money with what I actively do, so that I can choose to invest or choose to live how I like with it. And it's a great representation of personal development, because as you get better at it, you see your bank account numbers go up. As you get better at asking questions, having conversations, getting people to decide to take action, you make more money. And so there's not a lot of things that are that direct correlation. Physical fitness is, but I think, as you know, and has probably seen multiple times at your company, someone can suddenly make a lot more money than how quickly they can put on lean muscle mass. You get a much quicker reward, and you get that reinforcement loop of this is working. And as I get better, I make even more money, which I can then use to buy time freedom.
You can do whatever you want with that money at that point.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
So many options. So something you said there, you like what you do. So I hear all the time people don't like sales. And my argument to that is, well, are you good at it? And they're like, well, no. I don't know anyone who isn't good at something who likes it. So I want to know your thoughts on that. Hey, if you don't like sales, well, what would happen if you practiced it, studied it, and got good at it? Do you think those people would start to like it? And let's talk about the money aspect of it. A lot of people want to make more money and tie a little bit of happiness to money.
Yeah. Let's start with I truly do believe that anyone could get good enough at sales to probably make more money in a sales role than what they are currently doing.
Yep.
That's probably true. I don't know if they will be good enough and like it for the long term. Because the biggest thing is, some people, you might like the money, you might like the reward, the recognition, but if you are just such a pure introvert who's got no competitive drive and doesn't have any of the traits we see for success,
accountability,
this, top performers want to be held accountable. If you fear accountability, if you don't want to be called out when you make a mistake, you probably shouldn't be in a sales role, right? So also, there are plenty of people who maybe have that as a pattern and can be convinced that, accountability is the way towards something better, and I can embrace that. And then sales is a representation of that. But yet, simply put, yes, I think if you got not just good enough at it, but also understood what it really is. You've probably been taught that sales is something that I don't think it is. You've been taught it's pushing people to do something they don't want to do. It's forcing someone to buy a product or something that they don't want or need.
Well, I've always heard people say, well, I'm good at sales because I can talk to anyone.
So you can be good to talking to anyone, but that's not the same as being good at sales.
No. Yeah.
So like those are, I'm just hearing two different things. Right?
Exactly.
Because like sales is actually not talking.
Mm-mm.
Sales is getting someone else to talk. Sales is listening and asking questions. The person asking the questions is in control of the conversation. Sometimes the extrovert is at a disadvantage in sales because then they feel like they have to talk. They can't shut off the part of the brain that lets the prospect verbalize what is important to them.
Yep.
And so those people might do well as like a real estate agent, which is a sales role, just because that's so like effervescent and relational, and like my personality can get me more business. But for the most part, I don't necessarily think that the person who has the gift of the gab is destined to make a great salesperson. So if you got better at it and understood how to ask questions, it's just communication. It's understanding that if I shut up and get you to talk more and tell me what's important to you and ask questions and rephrase back what you said in a way where you feel validated, you feel heard, you feel listened to, and then I combine those things all in one chunk and ask you, do you want to take action on that? And you go, yeah, that sounds great. That's really sales. And then you get the practice in, you learn the techniques, you learn the skills, and you have even just a little bit of resilience and accountability, you'll probably like it too. The next question you asked was about people are too tied to money.
I think a lot of people are tied to money. So I talk about one of two things is, hey, sales is a great way to start making more money. And I think you say the same thing. It's the lowest barrier of entry with the highest possible income.
Yeah.
One thing I like to compare it to, I got a buddy who's 2 years older than me. He's in the final stages of being a doctor. He's making $80,000 a year. And he's doing 80 hours of work a week. He's had to travel. He misses his family, all of these things to when he finishes in June of next year. Now he's making $250,000.
Right.
Man, I didn't go to college and I made $250,000 a year.
You're getting $250,000 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's also another really key point, which is understanding, makes a lot of sense for people going through what they're going through as a doctor and med school and residency and all that, is that, and this is a really key point if you're a salesperson, is understanding that people pay more for identity than they do for utility. That's so true. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't drive a Hummer to pick his grandkids up from school because he needs the leg room. It's because of the movie playing in his head about who he is.
Yep.
And so you will pay a premium to be congruent with the identity that you think you are. As you, through parents, through cultural influences, think that the doctor is the person who matters in society and the salesperson is low. The money that you could make right now and avoiding the debt and the time and the effort might not be worth losing out on that identity within your tribe, from your mom, anything like that. So even if that's true, they might just be like, I'm paying this cost for the identity.
Yep.
So it's hard I wouldn't try and change anyone's mind like that. I would make sure they are aware that there are other options. As long as you have the awareness, if you didn't know that you could do this as a salesperson, that's a different story. But some people pay more for that identity otherwise. Another thing, I've talked about this on my podcast, I think once or twice, but it's such a really key story that I really want to hit in on. The first sales role I did really, really well was selling solar. And I was working for a company that had it wasn't like door knocking or cold calling or anything like that. I had leads set for me. It was very much like the acquisition process. There were leads coming in, and then I went to their house and then tried to sign them up for a survey. And they would come back later and be like, we got what we looked at. We can move forward. And when I started at that job, it was in Chicago. So it was similar Midwest climate as here in terms of the winter. February, I was struggling. That month because first off, it's shorter month. I have the same quota as every other month. The leads came in of people walking into Home Depot.
Is there any sun in February?
There's no sun in Chicago. No one's thinking about, even if you walk in for a home improvement project, you're not like, I'm not thinking about solar right now. There's 7 hours of sunlight. Like, this is not on my mind. So leads not only were there fewer, they were less interested. So I was struggling. I thought I was going to get on a performance improvement plan for the first time in my life. And I was like having a crisis of identity.
Terrible.
Crisis of identity, right? We were talking about identity's worth. Like, I'm a high-performing sales professional. What am I going through right here? And a really big breakthrough for me was when my grandfather went into hospice.
Yep.
And I still had that day there were Zoom appointments. I wasn't going into anyone's home because it was during COVID. And I still had 2 appointments and I wasn't able to offload them. I just wanted to grieve. I just wanted to mourn this moment because he was going to the hospice and he was going to be gone inside of a week. And I was like, I don't want to take sales calls and talk about kilowatts and your usage right now, you know?
Yeah, not the most important thing.
I'm a professional and my job is to do this, and I couldn't offload the appointments. So what happened is I showed up anyway, and it was I was struggling that month. It was the first time I got at that company a twofer, 2 sales in a day. Those 2 appointments I closed. And it was not because I was a genius. I did everything the right way, but what happened was I didn't have commission breath because I wasn't trying to close them. I didn't need to do this right now.
Yeah.
I was worried about something else. By actually conveying non-neediness, because I genuinely didn't care if I made these sales, I actually was more worthy in their minds of wanting to work for me. And it started a trajectory for me, because also then I wanted to mourn my grandfather. I was trying to be in a better mood. I made a shift, which is very different than how most people focus on money. I started going, okay, because I talked to my manager. I said, wait a second, I just got 2. And he said, hey, if you just go into 2 homes a day for the rest of this month, with your current closing ratio, technically you'll hit quota and avoid the performance improvement plan. And so I said, okay, what I'm going to do then is avoid the dreaded roller coaster sales of feeling amazing when I get a sale and beating myself up and hating who I am.
Most salespeople would never avoid that.
And I was like, I need to avoid that because I can't have a down moment. My grandfather, like the patriarch of the family just went. I need to if I let that also affect me, I'll spiral, and I don't want to lose this opportunity. So I said, as long as I go in 2 homes a day, I will treat it like a sale. That I became so focused that not only that, if I went into 1 home a day and got a sale, I wasn't allowed to celebrate to avoid the roller coaster part. I just truly only celebrated the process.
Yep.
By celebrating the process, it did a kind of super hack, which is on those appointments, I didn't care if I got the sale because I just had to go through the appointment. And it was the same as when my grandfather was in hospice. I suddenly started getting back-to-back twofers and selling more. And I got 10 sales that month, which is above the setup for getting an amount. And I averaged for the rest of the time of that company 17 a month, which is quite a bit of money selling solar. And that came from only celebrating the process. It wasn't actually about the results. It wasn't actually about the money that I got from those results. Obviously, that's why I'm working. It's what I'm doing. And we talked about financial freedom, all the things you can do with money. But the way I talk to myself consistently was when I say it's a perfect vehicle and representation of personal development, I just had to do the process every day. And I was just focusing on a daily basis. If I just go into 2 homes a day, that's a win. And my results, it's like something I blew up. I was top of the company, top field sales consultant. There were 2 people above me in Salesforce, but they were inside sales. Drove me nuts. I was on the same dashboard as them. We had different processes. It's not fair.
Different.
Not fair that
I'm on the same. Yeah, a lot more at bat.
Yeah, you get way more at bat. But I was internally a little annoyed about that. So I wasn't perfect. I still had that competitive spirit. But I was really celebrating the process. And then that's when the money started to come. Mm-hmm. That's when the money started to be like, oh, this is very nice. This is not just like, oh, I could be doing a different job. I just happen to be doing sales. This is when you're like, wait, how much money was my commission check this month? How much money was the bonus?
Like, I got to do that again.
Yeah, let's just keep doing that.
What did I do?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that because I think my team would say whenever Mike answers the phone, he would literally say, I'll say something along the lines of, I'm just going to help this seller right now with whatever they need. And then like 20 minutes later, I've got a deal. And it's going into it with that mindset you just said. I'm just going to ask good questions and make sure that they walk away with feeling that they were heard and understood. And it typically turns out to a deal with us. Our marketing's pretty good. So how do you always keep that mindset that like, hey, I'm just going to ask questions and I don't care about the outcome? And something you said that resonates with me. So many salespeople, even high performers, struggle with it is like they're worried about the money because a lot of high performers are terrible with money.
Yeah.
They spend it their paycheck before it's ever received. And if you got a deal, we've all been in sales, the deal's cancel. They've already spent that 2-3 extra K on something, racked it up on a credit card. And so then that commission best, even on top performers, does come back. So how do you keep that mindset of like always focusing on the process? Is there something you use to always refocus yourself before going into a sales conversation? What's that look like for you?
Yeah. For me, it's the constant reminder that I perform my best when I am focused on the process. So the best way to make more money is to actually not be focused on it. And it's a constant reminder. This is a really key point because like this is something I was interviewing Steve Trang for the first time. I was shocked to hear this, where he's different than most salespeople, I would say. He talked about hearing, because he started doing tactics, and he heard this line, which was like, every time you don't do everything you can, you don't like do the stuff you learned in this training, you are, because it's uncomfortable for you, you're choosing avoiding your temporary discomfort over the comfort of your family.
Yep.
And I love that quote. He's like, I heard that. And I asked him, how do you like, basically, how do you remind yourself of that all the time? Because most people, like, you can hear that and keep going. And Steve's like, oh, I don't know. I only heard that once. And then I never forgot it. And most people aren't like that. Steve's a true anomaly that way. So I am not like that. I do need to remind myself of it. So it's a constant reminder of being non-needy and focused on the process gets me better results. So if I want better results, stop focusing on them. And I can't learn it one time. You can embrace it one time, but it needs to be reminded. You need to remind yourself of this. You can look at other examples, the examples I've talked about. If you do it enough times, you'll have enough of internal proof to tell yourself that story over and over and over again that you can when you start to have that commission breath again. And I'm not great with money either. I don't spend a lot of money, but my family spends a lot of money. I'll just say that, like, we have high expenses.
It goes somewhere.
It goes somewhere. Like, it's spent. But like, so if I want to make more money, I don't get more commission breath. I get more focused on making sure I'm committed to the process.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that reminder. It's like, I've seen this work enough that why am I going to let this momentary feeling of desperation throw me off track of what has proven to work? So that's my kind of reminder there. Just constantly trying to think, if I can make sure I convey non-neediness, I'm curious, asking questions, seeing if I can help you. And if I can't, that's totally okay.
Yep.
That gets me more money over the most possible at bats. So rather than give off commission breath, I'd rather just do that more than normal.
Yep.
I'd rather call extra. I'd rather call an extra Sunday. Like, I'd rather just do more work at that to try and make more money than lose what works, which is being committed to the process.
Yeah, and you'll have happier customers on the end, which on the back end means less fallout, less work for your ops team. So then when you do have a difficult deal, your ops team's more likely to help you out because you're not giving them trash all the time.
It ripples out.
But over time, right? It's not over one bat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you've got 9 out of 10 that are really amazing, when you get that 10, your back end staff is going that extra mile for you, which is going to help you make more money.
Very true.
And then 2, they're more likely to handle headaches for you because you don't have any other headaches.
Right.
And then 3, your referrals are going to go up. So like over a 6-month, 12-month, 24-month period, you're going to see more and more come in your way. So let's really talk about, like, how can we help the new guy who doesn't necessarily have those examples of what it's like to slow down and do the process. And let's just say someone is in a pain point where they need that next commission check to be at a certain level. Like, how would you recommend that person come back to the process when they haven't had the experience that you and I have, where we know the process works? We know when we get off track, we can, oh man, I missed 3 deals. What did I do wrong? I was worried about going to provide my wife this vacation or whatever the case might be for us that day.
If you've never had the proof yourself that this works,
yes,
then that means what you're doing isn't working. So you have to be objective and go like, okay, this clearly isn't working. Like, if this is another thing that happens in sales, because some people like, I closed this deal because I did this thing. It's like, no, you closed the sale despite of the thing you did, right? So sometimes people can, like, you have this self-talk that, like, I'm the best because I slide the pen across and cross my arms and look away. It's like, no, they just wanted the car. It has nothing, like, your tactic got in the way.
Your company's marketing was 100%.
Your company's marketing was so good you were an order taker and you almost blew that up. Like, that's the thing. And so
And COVID's allowed that to happen more than ever.
It's true. It's true.
In almost any industry.
And so if you're not getting that success yourself, it means you have to look to other examples. So if they're even listening to this right now, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, if you don't have the track record to have seen that this works, and you think there's any validity at all to what we're saying, that like we've shown that this is the best way to do this,
Mm-hmm.
you either should go, okay, if that's working for other people, why don't I try that for a long enough period of time to see for myself, or keep getting the results you're having, and then what are you complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard, because like the advice I give people who are struggling truly varies depending on the individual, because their approach to their own level of accountability about their struggle varies.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to adjust the messaging based on that, because I'm so focused on making sure that message hits. So it's hard for me to give, if someone is in that level of pain, a broad like answer across the board, because I would want to custom tailor it to the individual. I will say that if you have not seen it work at all, then look to other people who have, whether it's online, which is harder because then like people inflate numbers, it's harder, but like find someone, like find someone who you trust, like reach out to me, like reach out to someone, ask for some guidance. Like you've never had, it's unbelievable to think about how much access we have to information for free right now that has
Easier to get to have
easier than ever. And I think part of the challenge with that is then, because there's so much information, the abundance of choice makes people like go like, well, it's hard for me to differentiate what's real, what isn't, and I can't take action on any of it, right? It's like when you had like, we were not too far off in age. When I grew up, if there's like 6 channels on, there's always something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got satellite or cable or like YouTube, like
There's nothing to watch.
There's nothing on, because you have access to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can happen for some people with education of these types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sympathetic to that, but like find something and try it for longer than you're comfortable and see if it works.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, education doesn't mean that you're going to have the life you want. Like the professor, we both make more money than the professor.
Yeah.
But it's because it's implementation and action that actually get you results.
The actions is everything. So like, I don't even like to call traditional schooling education. I actually call that the entertainment. It's like, to me, it's entertainment.
It is.
Because education has to involve doing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really learn it. I'm a big, like, very into Stoic philosophy. And the ancient Stoics had a huge belief around this, that the people who could regurgitate all the knowledge about Stoicism were not Stoics. I don't care if you know all the nuances and all the theories and the 4 virtues, and you can say what everything is. Your life doesn't demonstrate that. Like, because you're not living that way.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It has to come from the doing. The real learning comes from the doing. When I give like trainings, I'm telling people like, this is the equivalent of the lecture. The real learning comes from when you actually sit and do the homework, when you go apply the techniques, when you make the mistake yourself, when you see it work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to decide to take action. The education is only entertainment if you don't take action on it, because you didn't actually learn anything.
Yeah, to double down on that, I tell people all the time, people are like, oh, I listen to podcasts all the time. I'm like, great, what'd you do with the last podcast? They're like, I did nothing. I said, oh, then why don't you just watch Netflix? It's probably more enjoyable.
It's probably more fun. Yeah. You know what it is? It's because they think education porn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
You feel like you're growing because you're convinced yourself. And I don't mean to ostracize our audiences.
No.
Like, the reality is, I'm not interested in you just like listening.
If you don't do anything.
For the entertainment side,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take action on this.
I promise you, there's someone more entertaining.
I'm not that I'm talking about sales stuff, dude. Go take action on it, like,
Mm-hmm.
or watch a show on Netflix.
Yep.
Watch something fun, or take action on what we're teaching, so that you can buy your time back and choose to watch as much fun stuff as you want, rather than just squeezing it in between your miserable life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so something I want to talk about is coaching. So I didn't start paying coaching till like 2018, 2019. But when I started in my landscaping business, and even I worked in supplement businesses before then, I got coaching from, every time I go into a new sales role, I go find the top dog. What are you doing? Hey, can I come in on my off day and just like watch your shift? And if you're busy, can't take a customer, I'll take the customer and just hand it off to you. And I would just sit there and watch, see what they did, and then ask them, hey, can I take the next customer and try what you just did? And then once I got their strategy down, I turn it into my own strategy.
Yeah.
And then I almost always actually every single time I've ever been in a sales role, I flew past them, right? Because I took what worked and got to their level very quickly. And then I added my own twist. And then I was always studying my product more than they would. And so in my first businesses, I didn't always have paid sales coaching. And I think I would have been a lot farther if I did. But I would call other landscape business owners, what are you doing? How's this working? Blah, blah, blah. And try to get as much information as I could. But once I started my real estate business, I started with education from the get-go. And now we've hired you guys over at Sales Disruptors for our sales training. So can you talk about the impact on coaching with you, how it's helped you become a performer, and why you're at coaching now?
I live and breathe coaching. Like, it's such an important thing around how we operate that I have a coach for my running. Like, I have a coach for anything I do because I want to live the same. I don't want to just teach. I want to live the values. So like, we got a marketing coach. We're not great marketers. Like, we're always doing this because coaching is just, and I'm aware that plenty of people can be like, I'm a coach. And it's like, why are you saying that? That's a whole other issue. Like, there's no reason you should be a coach. But assuming that you can find the right people, let's forget like trying the sifting and sorting of who's qualified. Assuming you actually have someone who you can relate to, who can give you advice that can help you or your team or whatever you're doing. Coaching is the ultimate fast forward button on the learning process, because the best learning is not even just, I got the information, I took action. And it's not even, I got the information, I took action, and then I watched the thing again. It's and then I took action again. That's a version of it. The single best way to learn as quickly as possible is I got the information, I took action, and then I got feedback from an authority on how well I took action. And then I did it again, and then I watched the thing again, took action, got feedback. But the feedback in the coaching aspect to make it connect for you is everything. We always say, like, the gold is not actually in the information itself. The gold in training someone, in training a team, in training an individual, in inspiring someone, in coaching anyone, is in the distance between where they are in their mind currently and what you were trying to teach. It's not the information itself. The information itself you can find online.
It's everywhere. We're not creating anything new.
It's not. It's everywhere.
I say I'm out Elon Musk.
Yeah, I am trying to create a new way to describe it. But like, the real thing is, like, you can make more money than me just watching YouTube videos and making more phone calls.
There's been someone to do it.
There's someone doing it right now, like, who's not doing a podcast, who's just making money instead. Like, you can do that already, but the way to make it hit home for you is to get someone who can make sure they can explain it in a way where you apply those concepts quicker. Like, we actually had a really powerful realization in our training pretty recently, reinforced by your team coming to an event before, and then someone else's team from Collective Genius came to an event, which is that we found for our 2-day event, the single biggest impact it has is not what you would think it would be, which you would think it would be. That's people seeing the information for the first time because it's so new and novel. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. What a cool way to anchor emotions, to anchor pride. This is incredible. Actually, the biggest impact is people who've been through our training a bunch and then come and have an intense 2-day thing.
Yep.
Because you've already gotten exposed to the information enough, and then you have that intense exposure, you realize, oh, that's what I was missing. Oh, that's what I should have done. Oh, that's what they meant, and I didn't do it right. You notice the gap between the information and where you are. And coaching allows someone to guide you to close the gap quicker. And time is money in how quickly you can apply stuff.
I agree. I tell people all the time, you are missing so much money by not spending money on coaching to close that gap.
It's so true. And I'll say there's no reason for me to have to give you this compliment. I genuinely, and I know some pretty high performing teams, I don't know anyone who invests more in their team than you do. Quite literally, I don't know anyone who actually invests more. They might invest more money through tools and like travel, and who's someone who's like I mean this genuinely. And I cannot mean this as a bigger compliment. Who's someone who's like, no, we need to invest in our guys to make them better people so that they perform better and have better lives. That's a really profound thing that I mean seriously. Like, so I'm almost jealous I'm not a 22-year-old coming to work for you, because like, I would love to be a salesperson in my early 20s working for you. So I say all that to be like, the aspect of closing that gap with coaching is the fastest way to apply it as quick as possible. So I'm a huge believer in it. I get it for running. I do trail running. It's not that I'm not a professional. It's not that complicated. It's just go faster up this hill. But I do it just because I'm a huge believer in getting someone who's been there before and can convey the information in a way that resonates with me.
Yeah, and that's why I do it too. And I just believe that making money is great, but if I want to make more money, I need to reinvest in my team and show them that, hey, I care about your goals. I want you to accomplish. And the fastest way to do that is go get authorities and whatever they're struggling with, let them come in, because these people are always better than me. And so it's like, one, I'm an authority. Obviously, they came to work for me, so they respect me on some level. But then other is when I can go get someone above me who comes in and teaches these things and can do it usually a lot better than I can, that is going to double down on that. And two, people work harder when they realize, holy cow, this guy's spending money that could go to his pocket to help me reach my goals.
Yeah, all those things.
And then we all start moving forward, and the wave just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I have just found that if I take more money and invest it in my team, whether it's our ops team, I spend a lot of time and energy and money investing in coaching for Morgan and Leela on hiring and operations, and CFO, we're hiring someone to come teach us how to be better controllers of our money, all of those things. When they all know those things, and it goes back to like, someone says, what if I don't remember who the quote is it Henry Ford maybe, where he says something along the line, what if I invest in my people and they leave? And it's like, what if you don't invest in them and they stay?
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. I love when I pay to take my team to training and they leave. I'm like, this is great. Like, so many people get upset that you just spent average trips probably like $5,000 to $8,000 a person.
Sure.
So many people get upset that person just left. I'm like, I'm so grateful they left. They weren't the team player. They didn't meet our core values.
Yeah.
They were valuing themselves, or they don't value the same trainings that we do. That's okay.
You have to think, I mean, for the business owner, which is a different audience than what we've been talking about so far, you have to think like, okay, if I invested them and they still left, how much money am I saving by not wasting time, energy, leads on that person if they hung around? So to me, it's all about a lot of being happy with your choices is extending out the time horizon in your mind of
Agreed.
If I could just extend the time horizon.
And that's how I look at it.
Being upset this week to, oh my gosh, this is going to save me so much money over the year. It makes life a lot more fun, and you can calculate the profits in a much more favorable way.
Well, on the flip side, it's like, if I'm going to spend $300,000 or $400,000 in education this year on this team, what happens when I have 15 people next year?
Yeah.
And just in sales. So I'm a firm believer in.
You've proven that.
I'm going to keep doubling down on that.
It's a huge.
It's going to go so far, I believe.
I'm not saying this just to pat you on the back. Truly, that is what does that also do? Quality of how you set up your organization around your team. Because also, what does that also do in terms of leveling your especially leveling your leadership up? It allows it that you can make mistakes because you've made your people better anyway. So that it frees you to be able to try new things and make mistakes and not be perfect, because they can hold you accountable. You're like, actually, I learned a thing. You shouldn't be doing this. And you're like, wait a second, I don't like that. And you go wait, I did invest in them to learn this. Maybe I should take their advice seriously. And then suddenly
that's happening right now. That happened this week, last week, and the week before. I was like, damn, you're better than me. So I got to take a step back.
What is that doing then? You've actually outsourced the acceleration of your own learning, because there's only so many times I can learn a thing, fall asleep to internalize it. Yep. By investing in your team, they're doing that, which then comes back on you. You've just to use a Grant Cardone term, you've 10x'd your own personal growth by investing in your team.
I just need to get enough time to reap the rewards.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that comes to work for us will be so far ahead because I'm cutting those checks. You're not cutting those checks.
If I was living in the Columbus area, I would definitely be coming to work for you. So
let's build this real.
For sure.
Well, I think anyone should move here to Columbus and come work for me, and let's build this real estate company to 100 million plus over the next 5 years.
It's a fair point. I'm not moving my family again.
So I can't steal you from Steve. There'd be some.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, he'd be disappointed in me, and I respect him.
I'm too low much
too. Well, let's talk about what you and Steve do over there at Sales Disruptors. When I first went out on my own, Steve was one of the first people I hired. So he's been monumental to my success. And I've stayed around for almost 3 years now, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So can you talk about what you guys do? I've obviously seen a ton of success. You talk to my salespeople, they've seen success. So what do you guys do over there at Sales Disruptors? And who are you guys able to help the most?
So we're a sales training organization is like the bread and butter. We used to be also in real estate ourselves. We stopped buying houses in February of 2024. I was pushing for it to be even sooner.
Yeah.
So that we could go full time into building what we're trying to do right now, which we thought we would get heat from, but we haven't gotten heat from clients. There's only people online who have no idea what that.
Yeah.
People with big teams are like, we don't care. Keep training our guys because you're getting them results. I can't not do real estate. I talked of identity. I talked about paying more for I can't not do real estate.
He's been doing it for what, like 2006?
2007, yeah. 2007 when he got his license. So, though he did a transaction of investing in a property before then, so maybe 2006. So, yeah, there was an identity thing. And that identity that he was willing to pay for was in the time and energy it took because you know how there's constant fires to put out in real estate, way more so than the education training side, consulting side. And even though we made plenty of money from the wholesaling, the education is more profitable and we like doing it more. So we're like, well, let's just double down on what we like doing, what we're best at, and stop trying to put out these fires. So we're a sales training organization. Who we are for, that's actually a bit of a thing we're trying to figure out a little bit internally because there's this aspect of like, well, we should be targeting more people like you. We need to be targeting more business owners to train their teams because that is our bread and butter and where we have the most success.
You guys do really well with that.
It's our best thing by far. But I would say, aside from the bigger goal of like, if you have a sales team or you're a business owner, we want to make sure you can do business owner stuff instead of having to spend all your time on your sales team. The other side of it is just that if you have B2C conversations. So we don't specialize in B2B, and only in that, my only differentiation there is that for some business to business sales transactions, there's an aspect of it that has to take a long time because there's multiple people and they're not making a decision until next quarter and you got to present a proposal to the board and there's a process to it that is not our main focus. I say B2C only in that if you can talk to someone and they might have a spouse or someone, but they theoretically can make the decision. So some smelling small businesses, so mom and pop shops, that's absolutely the case. But aside from the long sales cycle B2B thing, if you have conversations where you're trying to get people to take action and they theoretically can make the decision, we have training for you.
Gotcha. Yeah. So just to like share with everyone what you guys do for us, our team has a process call where it's like, hey, this is the process of what we're going over. And then next day we get an hour just going over problems that we're dealing with. And then I do some one-on-one coaching with Steve on sales management, helping coach my guys individually. You guys also do a little bit of call review for us too on a weekly basis. So if you guys are struggling with sales or just want to get better and want to help your team achieve their goals a little bit faster, being a small business owner myself, it has been one of the best investments we have made. And we are going to continue to do that. I'm hopefully going to get myself out of sales management sometime in the first quarter, but my sales manager will keep using you guys as a secondary source because I believe you guys are better than me.
And the whole reason I'm here is something that I want to do much more of is traveling out to businesses to train their teams intensely for a day or two. Like that's a huge thing that I want to be doing more and more of. That like we'll come to you and train your team rather than make you come to us.
In-person action is so monumental.
More
Zoom
from it too.
It is so great, but just having them in person, being able to connect with you a little bit deeper, it's harder to be distracted, all of those things. So, well, Ian, anything you want to leave our guests here who are still along with the ride about sales, about business, or anything along the lines there? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would definitely say I'm going to echo the point, and I hire salespeople too, but I would much like, honestly, you can't go wrong if you have the ability to go like, I want to be held accountable to what I'm trying to do. I want to work hard and I want to make active income that's high enough to free myself and I'm willing to do that work. You're a pretty good option. Like it makes sense to move here to come work for you. So I'll say that like, there's no reason for me to do that, but like, that's true. Like I would genuinely think that. Outside of that, if anyone is in a sales role and wants a free just review of their process, I'm like happy to do that for them. They can text the word review to 33777 and someone on the team will schedule a time and I'll just go through a review. There's no questions asked. I don't have to force you to sign up for anything. You probably can't afford it anyway. I'm just happy to help people out and see if that's a thing that people would like. Other than that, like I'm very excited to train your team and continue to get you guys better and better results.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming out, Ian. If you guys want to learn more about Ian, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Vivid Selling. That's my sales framework. We tried to get my name, but Ian Ross is a really popular name.
Yeah, so
You have no idea what that's like, I'm sure. Yeah, no. So like Vivid Selling, that's my framework on Instagram. It's the easiest place to reach me. I release a weekly sort of, it's meant to be weekly, it's kind of bi-weekly because I'm so busy, podcast called the Close More Sales Podcast, where we're just giving this stuff out for free, mindset stuff, specific tactical stuff, techniques, things like that. Like that will get you better. And if you want to reach out, check me out on Instagram.
Yeah, and if you're new into sales and money's tight, you can't afford coaching, one thing I would say I would start with is start with Ian's Close More Sales podcast, guys. I use that right now, even though I'm paying him. I will listen to his podcast, sit down with my team. We will go through it multiple times, stop at points, break it down, practice what he just said, and then continue the podcast. He has a lot of tactical points on there, guys. So if money is an obstacle, you're not ready for sales coaching, and you want to start to make more money, that podcast is a great place to start. As someone who's been in sales for over a decade, made six figures for over a decade in sales, I don't make six figures in business. I make six figures because I'm a salesperson. That podcast will help you get there much quicker than what it took me. So, Ian, thanks for joining us on the show, and we are excited to work with you tomorrow and hopefully get better at sales.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for listening to the Properties for Profit podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Follow me on social media for more updates and tips. Until next time, keep turning properties into profits.